Okay, so I am going to be doing a reading here on Ed and Lorraine Warren. They are both now passed, but you might be aware of them because they've conducted many investigations. They founded in 1952 the New England Society for Psychic Research, which is the oldest ghost hunting group in New England, and probably in a lot of places, frankly. Consistently. I don't know who's taken it over. I saw under the Warrens' information they do have a daughter listed, but I haven't had a chance yet to follow that information up. Her name is Judy Warren, and see if their child is still living or not. They were both born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, just a year apart. Ed was born September 7th, 1926. That makes him a Virgo. I may stop and look and see if I can't get like some moons for each one of them. And Lorraine she was born January 31st, 1927, so a year later. She was a year younger than Ed. And that would make her an Aquarius. So Ed was a self-taught and self-professed demonologist, author, lecturer, and Lorraine was a also self-professed clairvoyant and light trance medium. So they were together for a long time doing this work. Much longer than even I was initially aware of. There have been many groups of people that feel skeptical because, frankly, it was handled so much like a business. The way it looks, is very... And it was a business. But the question would remain, was it all show, or were they actually dealing with some things? I have a gut feeling that they actually did deal with things, but I think there was a bit of a mix, and that was maybe a bit of the problem that a lot of us have kind of had with when we look at stuff that is connected to them. We think of it more as entertainment or theater, if you will, in many respects, rather than reality. So they were one of the first investigators to, speaking of which, as we're talking about this, or I am, Amityville. They were one of the first investigators to investigate Amityville. And this is kind of where they picked up some questionable, skepticism. There's always been skepticism, and they really did come out with, if you think about it, coming out in 1952 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. You're dealing with, at that era of conservative hold in a community. Oh my gosh, that's really, I gotta give it to them. That takes some cojones. And so, and they endured a lot of jeering at their work and a lot of skepticism, and kept on keeping on. And you got to give it to them on that. The question I want to know from the universe, and with all due respect to them and their work, because I think that they did open a lot of doors in many respects, both for better and for worse. But I'm keeping an open mind as I'm doing this reading. I don't care to cast some sort of ill will toward them or anything like that. That wouldn't be nice, and it's not necessary. I just want the truth, and to present it in a respectable way, with consideration to any family members that they may have yet living, and just, that's, I don't want to be rude, and you don't have to be rude to share a different perspective. So I just want to be able to convey the truth about Ed and Lorraine Warren's Psychic Institute type of the psychic, research group, the integrity of their work. I just want to look at that and see what the universe wants to tell us about them as a couple. I mean, they left us quite a story. What a couple. You can't say at least they didn't entertain us. But let's just take a look at Ed and Lorraine Warren and what the universe and the Creator and my guides, my mentors, and Spirit will help me to relate accurately. Because this is the first time. I've always known about them, of course. I'm a 70s kid, and like little kid, I remember The Exorcist, and that my dad had seen it and it really freaked him out. I was really little when it came out, but I remember that after it came out, I remember an incident where I spooked him. I was playing in my room, and it was in the dark because I had woke up. He thought I was being spooky. But that was The Exorcist, different film. Right? Anyhow, going back to the Warrens, what does the universe want to reveal? What does the universe want to reveal regarding Ed and Lorraine Warren, with all due respect? Alright, we're going to do, I think, like Celtic Cross. The hierophant is what covers them, and this is about educating or sharing, making accessible information. They shared a lot of information, that's true. They taught a lot of people things that are legitimate. So this hierophant, to me, is saying they taught a lot of, not so fast. They taught a lot of stuff to people that was helpful in an orthodox manner. Something that was so unorthodox, and bringing it into a manner of where there was more of structure, form, and at a time it was never popular. It only finally picked up. I mean, they started out in the 50s, 1952, and it wasn't until really the 70s, early 70s, with the likes of Amityville, that they became more well known. I mean, like, this is like across, globally. What crosses them was the Five of Pentacles. So this is a card that deals with a struggle physically, in the physical world, it can be definitely those that are caught between worlds. There's a lack of wellness with this card. Physically, there's like illness, I think. Or it could have been a physical situation that had to try to manage. I think also, okay, this is a way to make money. when my intuition comes on, is like, psh, it's a way to make money. They needed to earn money, but this is something that they love to do too. Okay, and they like sharing what they were discovering. And this, why not make this a business where we teach people and share what we know? And this is also people that were struggling. I think also people contacting them, they were aware of these things. I think their church, they were active in the Catholic Church. They used some, though by no means were they, that was always what was always fascinating to me was that here they are handling something totally esoteric, and they're this husband and wife team that are using the Catholic Church-based frame to deal with evil spirits or possession. They are utilizing that information, and I see that here also. He knew that stuff, and I think word of picking up word of mouth spread earlier on, because people were not as open about having these problems. So initially, I think it was just kind of began locally and gradually grew. I'm seeing they had correspondence talking. People would send them letters and stuff to their research once that they had established in 1952, and I'm seeing that in my mind's eye here, picking up on a lot of different things here, and the church and them utilizing that. They utilized that to also deal with, because she didn't see why you couldn't use it. Why, yeah, I'm picking up on her now. Woo! Just like, why couldn't you use that? And indeed, why not? So I don't think everything that they did was absolutely not. I'm getting, woo, okay. Yeah, for real, I can pick up on Elaine really strong right now. Really strongly. They knew their stuff, and it was more based out of the Catholic mysticism, okay? I feel that there were people that she saw the need. Can't spit it out, right? She saw the need. And I believe that she, being an Aquarius, is one of those people that's a maverick. They're willing to do color outside the lines. They're usually ahead of their time. My mother's an Aquarius, so and my father-in-law. Queen of Hearts. This is based on empathy and also Yes, clairvoyance. And the empath skills. It's showing up. So she had them. Okay? Very interesting. Nine of Swords. So crowning her, though, was anxiety, restlessness, inability to sleep. Sometimes I think she didn't rest a lot. She didn't get a lot of rest. I think there was a lot of activity, of visions, so on and so forth when she would put her head down. I'm just picking up all kinds of stuff about her. It's kind of crazy. And I'll tell you more later, but I just want to get through the reading because it's very interesting. So the Nine of Swords. So this also shows to me people that she answered a need that was in her community. And people were struggling with issues where spiritual matters were concerned, of more of a spiritual nature. And she filled that void for that area. The universe used her for that. So she was helping people locally, I'm shown, to begin with in her life. And indeed, she was clairvoyant. And like trans medium. You know, she was not all just, it wasn't all theater at all. I see it started out as based on a need, and she had the ability, and I think she just expanded, and as the need developed, so did her, you know, she was there growing alongside of it. That's not to say that she didn't maybe here or there allow for some theater, but I think herself, I'm getting, yeah, she was the real deal. Two of Wands in the more in the placement of her past. This between worlds. She wasn't, she kept it definitely to a light trance medium skill, because I don't think she would have been able to function and run as she did otherwise. So that's interesting that I'm feeling like that. I feel like, yeah, she developed it up to a point, and then she didn't want to go deeper because I think it would have just been just too much. Princess of Pentacles. I believe also Spirit would come and visit her. So but then she had to learn how to do the business angle, I'm getting here. You know, if you're going to run that kind of a society, then you've got to, you know, it's no small thing. It is an organization. And so I see that work too here with her, and they expanded their organization. Okay, locally, it became, I'm getting it. Okay, she's like saying, she's letting me know how they grew, and that, yeah, it started out local and it spread. Eight of Pentacles, yeah, and her abilities grew over time as she worked with them, and she did legitimately use them in the cases that she went to. She was not pretending. Now, whether or not you feel how she conveyed the information, whether, because every medium is a conduit. And you may not have cared for perhaps the way, or sometimes I kind of cringed at some things that she would say. I have to be honest. But I always felt like she did have some skill and ability. I didn't think that it was a complete theater show. No, never thought that. But I think that as time went on and you get more involved in media, the media can take your story and soup it up. And I'm not blaming leaving them out. I just don't think they cared to deal with that. They just dealt with their spiritual, it looks like, work. So far is what I'm getting. And so she's saying that she developed her skills over time as they were dealing locally. At first, they're in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and wherever they moved. I don't think they moved terribly far. Okay, so let's just keep going. In the environment is sun. So there is bringing clarity, there is exposing and showing things, to revealing things to the world that they didn't know existed, in my opinion. I see actually they brought a great wealth of knowledge and people's thirst to learn about this subject matter. And they had real experience, legitimate experience. To say whether a place, I think, was active or not. Yes. Hopes and fears is the Ten of Pentacles. I think they hope to leave a legacy of the work, of their, I think they took their work seriously, and they hope to leave their notes and their things for the, enrichment of understanding humanity. And, what happens in the next life. And what we deal with here, the truth. Sorry for any background noise. If you're hearing that, that is as a result of not living alone here, unfortunately. Sometimes I feel... All right, anyhow. So the Ten of Pentacles also makes me feel like the families, the places. I believe there was actually legit stuff going on with that sun in the environment, and what the cards are telling me. She was truly gifted. She had the skills. I'm focused more on her. It's picking up on her, like she's wanting to step forward, as is usual. The Magician. Now, here is where we have the communication, the way of expression, of how do you express what you get as a clairvoyant, as a conduit of the universe. And through her filter of her personality and her experience and so on and so forth, that magician is going to have a unique flavor, you know? And the King of Wands. Well, that is not her husband. I'm thinking this is somebody that may have been... Oh, I feel like this is the movie industry. This is, I feel like, creating a film. So I feel like this man is somehow maybe a director. Something along those lines. I'll have to look and see who directed Amityville, because I don't remember that. I know the film, but I mean it's been so long. There's the moon, okay, and here's where we start to get some shade, but also a blurring of the lines a little bit. So this is feeling like a creative effort. A different perspective, yes. But also, yeah, I feel like this man was trying to figure out how to deliver this kind of material into a film when they went and set about to make Amityville, because it was a real game changer. And this, I feel like I'm picking up how this director was like, how do I make this esoteric material work? How do I convey that? How do I offer that perspective? That's an interesting challenge to convey in film. So that's kind of cool to hear it from that perspective. And here's another male, adult male, King of Pentacles. And Temperance. That's her husband. That's Ed. Brought balance. So Ed... Okay, I get it. She's saying that Ed kept Hollywood from overtaking their story completely with creative license. But they worked with directors to teach them, and I think it was immensely actually helpful, how to creatively convey and express this, which is that cannot be seen normally day to day, but how do you sense it? How do you feel it? How do you convey that? So as a filmmaker, I believe I'd love to... I'm going to have to look at that now. Look at Amityville. Let me write that down. I know I already did a reading on it, but I want to look at the director. Amityville. I know it's somebody that's probably relatively well known. And I'm going to be like going, oh God, why didn't I check that out? So, I believe Ed was able to keep a balance, maintain a balance in how it was done, and working with more of a creative film crew that wants to convey the story. I think he really tried to keep things balanced, and I don't think it was always easy to do. But I think he did as well as he could. And here's the High Priestess. This, by the way, is Oh shoot, I knew I did. The Enchanted Tarot deck. It's very kind of narrow but long deck. It's nice though, just kind of funky to shuffle, but really get good readings out of it for some reason, or I have an easier time reading with it. Okay, so then we've got the Three of Hearts and the High Priestess. There was something hidden there. The Three of Cups. A small group of people I think she read for other people. That work led to other work. Yes. Word of mouth. And she did have legit skills. And I'm saying this as somebody that would, when would sometimes hear her say what she was picking up, I go, I don't know about that. I'm here to, so, but I think, let's just see. Ace of Hearts and the Four of Swords. I think she tried to bring more peace to places, the energy, and I think she actually did when she worked with a group, a small group of people. So I'm feeling like this is work she did as a light trance medium going around. I think she legitimately did settle some energy in places, definitely, and just bring a more harmony. Look at the harmony on that. But she did with a couple other people, small groups. And she's showing her work, and the universe is saying she did. While it's fine to remain, have skepticism is fine, but she actually does and did have this skill and did actually manage to bring a lot of peace and a lot more harmony to places throughout her life in her work. She legitimately did. The ones that you're hearing about are the ones that are just the ones that have grabbed the media's attention. But there are other cases, and that we should look at, the smaller cases, that may not be as dramatic or picked up by Hollywood, but I'm getting from Lorraine, they were every bit as interesting and strange or odd. And that she went in there, and each of these places she went to, she sought to bring healing or a more harmonious energy. It's showing up. And she brought a lot of empathy. She went there with an empathetic heart. That wasn't fake. That wasn't phony. I also feel like she and he both suffered from some various different health problems, but they kept going. With that Five of Pentacles also, despite their health issues, they kept doing their work. Wow. I got to tell you, I thought there would be a whole lot more sketchiness coming in and I'm just not getting it. That's not to say, folks, that, she was perfect, but this is to say that I believe that I'm satisfied from my cards that it's saying she had a legitimate gift, Lorraine, and we're just picking up on her alone as a light trans medium. She did a lot, she opened a lot of doors, and she brought through a lot of information and a lot of basic means that people have used today, whether they probably know it or not, if they're involved, kind of in more of the esoteric and public realm. You know, whether they're a tarot reader or they're a light transmedium like herself. She was one of the few that brought like this to people's television screens and to the film screens. And it was a big, her stories were very, very much part of that. Oh, great. Now we're going to have radio on. All right, I'm going to end this because it's getting long anyhow. And I'll pick back up and read on them again. And the Fool, you know, she just went out there and she just did as she went. She went and worked. Queen of Pentacles. I think she must have had a bit of Virgo in her. This could also, I would have want to look at the daughter. That could be the one that, we'll have to look at that. So I'm going to stop there because we have a lot of noise in the background, and it's a long video as it is. So we will read again. I felt like Lorraine was very welcoming to my, and boy did she open up with me. That was a little unnerving, but it was very cool. So if you like this content, please hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next video. Ba-ba-ba.